Hey everybody, welcome back to X's for Show, your weekly reaction to all things media and TV. This is, of course, our TV streaming episode. This is a Sunday. You can check us out at X's for Show on all of your social medias. And I'm Nico. You can check me out on Twitter, Instagram, and more at Nico Action. That's NICOACTION, getting quantum.
And I'm TK. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at xnateXgrayX.
And that makes me Kevo, and you can find me at Kevo Rayleigh, KEVOREALLY.
We're going to be taking a look at a number of the upcoming TV shows in the Marvel Disney Plus slate. After all, this is our Sunday TV broadcast. So what would be without a little bit of TV talk? So we're going to be taking a look at Secret Invasion. That's I have to assume, complete series. I don't think they're going to be like Secret Invasion Season 2. It's not done, and now everybody knows about it. That would be a terrible name for a second season. We're going to be taking a look at Loki Season 2, all new showrunners. We're going to be taking a look at the filmed twice Echo, and I'm going to talk about why I think this guy threw the Echo show running team for a loop. It's TVA time, guys. I could not be more excited than to be representing the TVA right now. Hold on.
Wait a second.
I love this jacket.
Hold on a second.
Oh, I'm holding.
You can't work for the TVA.
Why not?
Because I work for the TVA. And I've never seen you before in my life.
But I have the
You're
official.
goddamn variant, aren't you?
I must be.
That's Nick Adventure.
I'm Nick Adventure. Oh my.
Oh wow, Mike Adventure, Mike,
yeah.
When I got to college, my friends were like, "So what do you go by?" And I was like, "Nick, I guess." But like, I don't like Nick. I prefer Nicholas. And they were like, "Too many syllables. How about NJ?" And I was like, "We live in New Jersey." No. And they were like, "No, we're gonna make that happen." You know, the crew of college friends that I made that lasted one day. So, but every now and then I'm like, I wonder what NJ's doing right now. Anyway,
I bet they wonder too.
So I am balls out excited to talk about Loki and Secret Invasion and Echo. So right now, I know we're starting things off with the hat, which is Secret Invasion. That's my SHIELD logo hat. This hat simultaneously ages me into dadhood and takes 5 years off of how tired my eyes are. So I love this hat. Thanks, Nick. Right. So Nicholas J. Fury, Agent Aquarius, you know, he's a good guy. Yeah, I connect with him, I guess. I have a lot of reactions to Secret Invasion being made into a TV show. Number one, Secret Invasion is my favorite era of Marvel ever. I've talked about this kind of extensively on the show. I really genuinely think Secret Invasion is like the best era Marvel ever had. It's just every week was exciting. Literally every Wednesday was a joy, and like there are some tones I wish were done differently. A number of the writers did work really hard to avoid really ugly comparisons that did not make sense, did not fit the Marvel brand. But you know, the ugly story or two did bleed in. But for the most part of the like 730s, I just Alyssa Edwards so hard into the microphone. But for the most part of the like 733, you'll notice the number just went up because more issues of Secret Invasion are literally coming out this year. The majority of it was great. Now, Teak, I know you've said the same thing about having a really positive relationship with the source material. I'd love to get that from you. And then, Kevo, I would love for you to follow up with your expectations of Secret and Veve, as they would call it on Drag Race.
I do have a lot of positive associations with Secret Invasion. There are also a few negative ones, but it really was a fantastic payoff of everything that began with Bendis's run in New Avengers, which is around the time that I started picking up on, well, I'd been picking up on X-Men again. New Avengers was when I started picking up other Marvel stuff and getting more involved and more interested. Yeah, I mean, it was a really sprawling, well-executed event that I think, you know, had potential to maybe be even more than it was. But to put that name on something gives me some real expectations that I have a strong feeling, given that I know where we are in the MCU right now, it would be very tough to meet.
Yeah, I get that.
How about you, Kevo?
You know, specifically, my strongest memory of Secret Invasion is that Secret Invasion was going on around the time that we met. Not even got together necessarily, but met. And so this was something I was hearing a lot about from this zany guy in my English classes, telling me about these things called scrolls, and I don't care about this. Just tell me about there's gay Avengers. And you know, I remember seeing all of these ads in all of your comics for Secret Invasion, and you telling me about this whole huge thing. And so it is the first event that I ever watched you experience live. And so for me, it has always had a very significant place. And so I've also been very curious about the choice of adaptation for this, the way it is happening. It raises so many questions about how can you label something Secret Invasion that would need to affect the wider MCU in so many ways, and I don't know if they will, or if it is going to be an Age of Ultron situation where we just like that cute name, and look at how cute this graphic is, look at that logo. Who wouldn't want a cute logo like that that says Secret Invasion? I hope that it is something far more approximating the actual event, even if they can only do it in such a low-key way that it's not going to event too much of the major motion pictures. Something to really rekindle the spirit of what Secret Invasion was, and what a huge thing it was, would be really cool.
I have this memory. So, like, you know, it's really funny because, like, when you talk about having favorites, everybody's got, like, too many favorites, right? And I remember when TK was first, you know, becoming super special to me, and I was becoming super special to him, and we were starting to be all schmoopy on each other. One day he was just flat out like, I just don't think you can possibly love all of the things that you love. And shortly thereafter, he was like, no, oh my God, you just have a limitless capacity to find love, don't you? And I do, but there's a couple of things that I chief love above anything else, right? And it's not just like, you know, these two guys down here who are my guys, you know. Elektra is like far and away, you know, it's a Daredevil, Jean Grey, Wolverine, and Elektra. And that's like a really unimpeachable top four for me. It just so happens a bunch of them bang, you know, no big deal. But I bring it up because the way Secret Invasion started was Brian Bendis, who had very selectively used Elektra up through this point in his Daredevil run, murdered her in the pages of New Avengers, and her corpse became a Skrull. And I couldn't recover. Like, it's all I thought about. I remember reading it like 100 times in my bedroom at the time, like reading it over and over again. Every page of Lionel Francis Yu's art, just mind-blowing, changing my experience. And it's just like one of the most perfect comic experiences I ever had in my life. And I remember reading Secret Invasion #1 and being like, this is a thing. Like, I never thought House of M was Secret Wars. And I never thought like World War Hulk was Secret Wars. But I remember reading Secret Invasion and being like, I'll be damned if this doesn't change comics for the rest of my life. And I think it really did. I really truly believe it did. And it rested on the strength of our fandom. That's what made Secret Invasion amazing. It manipulated us into wanting that to be Jean Grey, but knowing that if it was, it cheapens her death everywhere else. Unless maybe she was reborn on the moon, and maybe we'll get a miniseries about how she was reborn somewhere else. Because that is what happened for Elektra. It turned out that the real Elektra was being held by the Skrulls, and she fought her way out. Pretty great miniseries by Zeb Wells in his early Marvel days. But Kevin, would you pull up the beautiful cast list you so brilliantly made? I love this cast list. I think Samuel L. Jackson is one of the greatest actors of his era. You know, he's literally the most money-makingest actor ever, right? It's like him and Zoe Saldana, I think. I think Kobe Smulders gives such an incredible performance as Maria Hill, who I love. I understand that she's a toxic harpy, but like I think she's a breathtaking, brilliant. Like I love that she is an actual tragedy. I think she's incredible. And you know, more Latina tragedies, please. I love Everett. Actually, fun.
It's fun. Yeah.
Yeah. I am so.
I am confused how he's a Ross though.
They're both characters from the comics, though, aren't they?
Yeah, but they're trying to be really careful about places that the names are the same. Like they might add
So
an
why
E.
do it? So why do it?
So this would be Everett K. Ross, but it'd be Ross with an E at the end. Right? You know what I mean? Like they're trying to be careful about that.
Yeah.
Don Cheadle being in this is just like, I mean, Don Cheadle is like a legitimate national treasure. Don Cheadle is in so many ways a more politically active, you know, Paul Rudd. He is like beloved. He's had so many roles over the years. He shows up on SNL wearing shirts that say protect trans kids. Like, how do you ever forget what a hero that is? And great to see him in this.
Damn.
Created by Kyle
Sorry.
Sorry.
It's fine.
I'm 49. Created by Kyle Bradstreet, directed by Ali Selim, based on Secret Invasion by BMB, the very bomb of Marvel himself, Brian Michael Bendis, and brilliant artist Lionel Francis Yu. The composer is evidently Chris Bowers. Can't wait. Its announced release is going to be 6 episodes, ranging from June 21st to July 26th. And I'm pretty gay about this. I'm pretty bonkers. Hopefully this is everything we're looking forward to. Kevin, what'd you just discovered? Because you just got gagged.
We're going to be covering a bit of Chris Bauer's work later this summer because he apparently scored the Haunted Mansion film and has scored such things as When They See Us, Green Book, Bridgerton, Dear White People, the upcoming The Color Purple film. Lots of really cool stuff. Short Treks. He did the score for the short trek, The Girl Who Made the Stars, about young Michael Burnham.
The score was by far one of the best things about that episode.
Wow. Really, really great work from this composer. So I'm sold on the music, and that is always a huge hurdle for me. He won. He was nominated for an Emmy. Good for him.
Now we have 6 unknown roles. You know, it's stuff like, okay, so like Amelia Clark, right? Former, you know, pop star, golden goddess. I don't mean pop star like, oh baby, baby, like pop star. I mean
popular star.
Yeah, I mean like Marilyn Monroe pop star. Like, you know, we've added Godzilla to our ranks, kind of pop star. Amelia Clark is playing Gaia, who is listed as Talos's daughter. If she's not secretly the Skrull Queen and an implant and gonna kill them all, this feels like casting Bill Murray as a character that appeared in one issue, playing an unrelated version that doesn't even really look like the character.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think she's going to be Varanki. I think that is a mistake. I think one of those unknowns could be. But I suspect we're not going in that direction overall, which is kind of my thing. I think this is going to look a lot more like that 5-issue mini that just came out,
which was great.
Which was a good 5-issue mini. But,
yeah, exactly.
Secret Invasion was all about, you have loved the Marvel Universe for the past 30 years. You can't have been paying attention to all of it. You can't have known what was going on the whole time. And we can exploit that to do something really interesting. Because it just simply isn't possible to be a person who covers all this stuff. We can say to you, Nick Fury was not able to cover all this stuff. Nick Fury was not able to ensure that everybody was safe and that we were not invaded. And now we are in this position. So it really put you in the same position as all of the characters, where you as a reader simply had to say what they were saying, which is, yeah, I cannot confirm that any of this isn't true. Which is a really great position to be in. But the MCU has made it very clear that not only can you be aware of everything that's been happening, you should be. You should have seen all of these films. You should have seen all of these shows. Why haven't you seen them twice? And in that way, we will not be able to get that same level of paranoia and uncertainty and it's just, and they're different mediums. So for me, in that regard, I think this is going to be significantly different. And because we saw that cute little kid in the Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel Skrull sequence, I think we are just getting like, hey, I'm that cute little kid, but now I'm the mother of dragons, Skrull dragons.
She has to be something important, even if it's just something insofar as, like, Talos wants her to be a spy and she doesn't want to be a spy or something.
I think ultimately what she's going to be is the founder, the first member of the Skull Kill Crew, that will become what this produces.
And she's going to hunt down all the Skrull cows. And she's going to stop them from becoming Bubba Burgers.
Exactly.
And I think something that especially doesn't escape my notice in all of this is it really is a prime storytelling period for them to utilize so much of the concept of Secret Invasion because of the blip. And because they can do so many storytelling things with people who were thought to be blipped that weren't, or people that said they weren't blipped but were replaced by Skrulls. And there's so many mind-bending things you could do with that.
Oh my god, they're going to use the blip. Oh my god.
That was what I was actually hoping, and what I still have hope for, that they will do for Sharon Carter. And her being the power broker.
There's no help in Sharon Needles.
Well, no. But what I really hoped was, like, it would be revealed that Power Broker Sharon Carter is actually a Skrull, and that's where she is being villainous, as opposed to our Sharon Carter that we know being a lot more like her aunt. And there's so many things like that that you can do, and that you can spread throughout the MCU. I'd really like to believe that it's more of a you are rewarded from having seen everything than you need to see everything, especially because we are in such an age where you can just read stuff on Wikipedia, and I think they need to be doing more official themselves little catch-up clips or summaries that would make it more accessible, that if you haven't seen XYZ, here's just a bit of a refresher. It's just, you need to make it more accessible. That's really all it is. If you want to have it be such an immersive world. Because it would be really hard to tell a Secret Invasion story if you haven't seen a bunch of other projects, because the whole point of the project is supposed to be a bunch of our favorite heroes were replaced by Skrulls. If you're not watching someone else's movie to see what that person is doing or what characters in their story are doing to find out, oh my god, that person was a Skrull, then you don't care. So I have high hopes. I don't know how high my actual expectations are. 6 episodes, you can only go so wrong. I pulled this image because I want to know what's going on with this.
You know,
This is a very manly embrace between.
I'm not trying to say that I don't think they could be homosexuals, but
No, but this
it's
intense
much more old
friendship.
soldiers, yeah.
Yeah, I want to
It's such
see
a
more
hallmark of
about
Nick Fury.
these characters who have
I
this
suspect
intense
that could
bond
be.
from 30 years.
I suspect that Nick could be a Skrull in that moment.
You know, have there been various times where Nick was a Skrull? Does Nick not even know when he's been a Skrull? There's a lot of avenues they can travel. So pick one, pick several, and leave the rest by the wayside. Just, you know.
Well, and on that regard, I love everybody being like, oh, what if, because not like coming for your theory at all, Kevin, because I love it and, you know, subscribe to it for a long time. I love the what if Sharon Carter power broker is a Skrull, but nah, screw that. What if she's from the multiverse?
Mm-hmm.
And
There's so many doors right now, yeah.
which, speaking of multiverse and doors, let's find ourselves over in the world of Loki, where Loki season 1 was very much, to my perception, promoted as Loki and Sylvie, and also for whatever reason, a Wilson brothers in the background.
Oh,
And-
wow, thanks.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, season 2, Sylvie just does not seem to have the same position. And I feel like from everything I've seen, Mobius is in triple the amount. And there's new showrunners, and there is a very different approach. There is a lot more what it looks to be focus on this shaping instead of this responding. And I'm excited. I'm in. I think Tom Hiddleston is a tremendous actor. He has grown into a very handsome man. Boyish Tom Hiddleston, not as much my thing. And the hair is a little Parker Stevens for me, and it's not my thing. But
Ooh, yeah.
I think with that hat on, yeah, man. That hat, he could play bowler hat guy in a live action Meet the Robinsons, which, please, Disney, when you're ready. I understand you're having some trouble with remakes, and I can't promise my Meet the Robinsons will be better, but I'd do it.
No, and turn
So-
it into a musical. That'd be great. Ooh, Meet
Okay,
the Robinsons musical.
I can now
would
promise
love.
it would be much better.
Absolutely. Call him.
So can we just get that creative team up?
Yeah.
We have show creator Michael Waldron, who has departed and been replaced with showrunner Eric Martin. The
Eric
director-
Michael Martin.
Eric, that's just something the elevator said to you. The director is
Elevator.
Justin Benson, with additional direction. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the directing team. This is Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead, right? Love that. Not Agnes Moorhead. That's Endora. Kevo, did you find the listing for composer is Natalie Holt, or is that the composer from Loki season 1?
She is the composer from Loki season 1, who is
Okay.
credited as the ongoing
Great.
composer. So that's why I'm like, question mark, might be back.
U.S. release date of October 6th, 2023, with an estimated episode run of 6 episodes. And then if you could just pull up that incredible cast list, it's a little bit shorter than Secret Invasions, but not by much. We have, of course, the return of Tom Hiddleston as Loki, Ravonna Renslayer. We have the return of Tara Strong as Miss Minutes, Owen Wilson as Mobius, Sophia DiMartino as Sylvie, and I only wish that one of her eyes bugged out every time, because then she'd truly be a DiMartino. I'm very excited to see Jonathan Majors' Kang also credited as Victor Timely. Great job, Kevo, because that reminds us that is what he's credited as in the outro sequence.
You put Victor, I put Kang.
Great working together.
Great call, Nico.
We have Raphael Cassell and Kate Dickey, neither of whom's role has been released. But how are you guys feeling about these? We have a number of other incredible returning cast, like Hunter B-15. B-15 was such a standout moment, every moment in Loki season 1. So Loki season 2, me.
Why don't you go first this time, Kevo?
I think the character that I am most intrigued to see more from is Gugu Mbatha-Raw's Ravonna Renslayer, because I have loved her as an actor since her appearance on Doctor Who Series 3. And she's been in a lot of varied things. So to see her return to the time fold has been really exciting. And I think they left her character and Wumi Musaku's under B-15 in a really interesting place as well. So I don't know. So much of it has grand potential. I think what I find so strange, though, is we really sort of thought Loki season 1 was going to be an event. And then especially with the ways in which it ultimately did not tie into the same showrunner's multiverse of madness, I don't know what to expect from a season 2, from a different person.
Truly.
Setting up what now? Or is it just not setting up anything? Is this going to be, a little bit more like Dollhouse season 2, where they established a setting in a world, and now you sort of understand what's going on with the Time Variance Authority a little bit better, so maybe we can get some more wacky capers and some more off-the-wall timelines and stuff like that they weren't able to do as much in the first season when it was untested and they sort of had to prove themselves. So that would be really, even if it's just wacky capers, that would be really exciting.
Time
I definitely agree.
Is the standard of Marvel.
I definitely agree that, having a second season in this case, where the first one was really doing a lot of work to set up MCU stuff, a second season might really be able to let us have a little bit of fun. I think one concern I have is like my definition of fun is maybe different than some of the people involved with this show. I love the relationship between Loki and Sylvie, and I love the idea that for a character like Loki, the only person that he can love is another version of himself. And it is funny. It's also a little gay. Like, it's a little gayer than we're ever going to get from mainstream MCU stuff. So, like,
Perhaps,
it's kind of important to me. But I worry that they think it's weird, that they think it seems incestuous to have Loki kissing a version of himself. And so we won't see as much of that. I hope I'm wrong, but like, that to me was such a huge part of the show. I thought it was so beautiful while also being really funny. I think you can have stuff that is both, and it's sort of tough to come by. So, when you find it, it's real gold. I like Kevo. Ravonna Renslayer is real high up on my list. Fantastic comic book character pull. She has had some amazing 90s moments where her outfits are just too extreme to talk about here and now. And I like this character. I like the actor. I am very excited to hear who Kate Dickie is going to be playing. Kate Dickie to me is kind of the Scottish Amanda Plummer. She keeps getting put in roles where she has to be like the weird crone lady that kind of scares the shit out of you. And I feel like she would have been a really great Vedic. So I will be interested to see who she's playing here. I suspect it will be somebody weird and creepy, and I think that will be very fun. I don't care about this Wilson brother. I hope
I love the character. I think he kills
the character's fine. I don't care about the character either. I hope he dies because it would be good stakes raising. It would mean something for that character to kick it, and then more screen time for Sylvie, who just wears a cloak like nobody's business.
I now recognize who Kate Dickie is, and I think I would genuinely love to see her as another female Loki.
Yeah,
like an old lady Sylvie.
Yes, or not even just Sylvie. And that's I think the biggest thing that I need from this show and from Loki in general. And it's the thing that I think bothers me the most about Loki and Sylvie as a pair. It's the only thing that bothers me, is that it feels like there is this implication, not outright statement, but there is an implication that Sylvie is like the only female Loki.
Right.
We are not told, like, and it's very severely suggested, and that bothers me. If we had other female Lokis like Sylvie, it would go a long way toward making me feel more comfortable with them as a pairing, with her as a character. This, by the way, is the actress. She was she was the mom's sister on Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
I love her playing Hugo Weaving.
Kind of. She's like a female Hugo Weaving, and that's part of why I'm like, absolutely another female Loki, an older one, a more Richard E. Grant-ish one for sure. I think that would be great, and I think it would do great for the show. And yeah.
I think the other thing that I want from this show that it needs to deliver on in season 2, that's probably a little bit different than season 1, is season 1 was about crafting an iteration of Loki who was like, I see everything you're saying I'm supposed to be, and I am choosing to be my own thing. I might not know what that is, but I will simply not be defined by your rules of a Loki. Great. But now you can't do anything Loki we've ever seen. Now this is a unique character, and there is no, I've seen this Loki before. And for that reason, I'm hoping for this season to provide me the opportunity to engage with the gods of the Marvel Universe like never before. If Loki is about iterative pantheon, if Loki is about how the systems of rule and chaos in every time, in every world, throughout the multiverse, throughout reality, if they are always riffs on each other, because that is order, and thus he is on his way to, maybe we'll call it, beyond, he could very well be on the path to understanding the framework of the Marvel Universe, the above all, the below all. And if this walks us there, or at least puts us on the path, it's worth it. If this tells me more shitty Loki stories, I don't mean shitty stories, I mean shitty Loki. If this tells me more shitty Loki stories, I think I'll be a little disappointed, but the truth is Tom Hiddleston's performance, alongside the caliber of storytelling they've put into just about every Disney Plus series, or at least attempted to, even when I felt they have missed the mark, leads me to believe that I am walking into a pleasant experience. And again, the Wilson brother in this, Mobius is looking super cute in those posters. I think everybody can see that I am literally cosplaying Loki. I will be probably doing Mobius with a gold tie. So I just last hope, and then I need everybody's all those things. I just really need them to have saved at least 2 surprises.
Mhm.
Just something maybe in the first 2 and something in the last one where I'm like, oh, that aren't just the course of the show, that are like, we kept a casting.
Yep, I'm right there with you on that.
Yeah. Gosh, how far away is it again? October
6th.
Gosh, that's so far. So we don't have any Marvel content again until this. That's a little sad.
Wait, no,
Yeah.
Secret Invasion.
Oh, yeah,
first.
no, you're right. I'm so sorry.
And then Echo.
No, Echoes after this.
Echo is November. Echo is a full drop in November.
Oh, I thought it was in
Mhm.
August.
No,
Mm.
yeah, they're coming for us, man.
Okay, well, speaking of Echo,
Yeah, might as well. Because did you have more, or are you good?
Oh, I'm good. I'm ready. We talked about
I'm at
Loki a
TK.
lot in the
You went.
course of- Oh,
no, I absolutely did not have more. Yeah.
Just everything we've said. Yeah.
Yep.
I want to talk about some bigger characters too here.
All right.
I'm really excited to do this. We've been playing a game, bracketeering, where it's basically, what if we take a March Madness bracket and we go a little wacky with it, right? We have a little bit of fun. And the reason it's a little wacky is because at the end of a March Madness bracket, you still have basketball player versus basketball player. At the end of a bracketeering bracket, I'm just going to keep using that same example.
It's the best example.
It
Oh,
wound
wow.
up the cast of Modern Family versus Batman. So it you sometimes wind up with
Just absolute nonsense, and we wouldn't have it any other way.
and
Oh man, I haven't seen these screen caps for a long while. Like I forgot how cool Ghost Rider looks
I
back in the day.
know. We've got some good art in this, and yeah, a lot of it really took me back.
and so we came up with a list of characters who have never had their own formal animated series. They have had appearances on stuff, and I learned my lesson a little bit on what counts as an animated series. Listen to me well. Motion comics, you are not animated,
You're not an animated series. That's why we call you motion comics and not animated comics.
Anyway, I lost that battle. So I changed a couple of things at the last second. But we have some really cool matchups. We're going to talk about some really cool characters if you're game for it, Jason.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, then let's kick it off with 2 of our favorite characters in the entire world. Neither Daredevil nor Ghost Rider have ever had a proper animated series. Daredevil being my fave boy, and Ghost Rider being like TK's fave guy out of nowhere.
Suddenly, now that's a thing. I don't know how that happened.
Jason, where do you stand on the Devils?
I'd probably go. I mean, if we're going for like a.
Let's take it on over to our little Hell's Kitchen friends. There's a lot less to report currently,
Well,
but there's not
what
nothing.
there is, we have that Marion Dare, along with main director Sidney Freeland, and some assistant directing or additional direction by Catriona Mackenzie, have come together to sort of create and showrun Echo, alongside being created by David Mack and Joe Quesada from Daredevil. This is actually settled in an era of Daredevil where I don't want to say David Mack owes anything to the run that came before it, but this particular run, the Echo run, is issues 9 to 15 or 16. And it's mostly by David Mack, some art by Joe Quesada. Unfortunately, the book published like seriously 8 issues in 3 years due to David Mack hand painting everything. And so Echo is actually kind of treated as like a comic pariah for a while. Nobody got the story to understand her. And then David Mack worked on a follow-up story, the 5 or 6 issue Vision Quest, that would run later on in Daredevil, and it ran uninterrupted when Bendis needed a break. So it, there's a really good symmetry. And of course, David Mack has gone on to be one of the most prolific writers and artists in comics, and he specifically has no trouble hitting deadlines nowadays. So definitely excited for that. But it did mean that Echo was little used and little respected until she turned up in the pages of New Avengers. Notice how much comes back to Brian Michael Bendis and Lionel Francis Yu's New Avengers. In that book, however, she actually was it's just Patsy, in that originally Echo was going to be Daredevil, but then Joe Quesada said in an interview, you can tell who it is by their weapons. And so everybody knew it had to be Daredevil.
Originally
Ronan, right,
was going to be Daredevil.
Ronan, the character that is Hawkeye in the movies, but is also Hawkeye at some point in the comics, don't get me wrong, was originally meant to be Daredevil. That
and it was very, Quesada was right. It very clearly was Daredevil.
So then they tried to make it Echo, but then that interfered with, they tried to make it Elektra, but that interfered with all the plans for Secret Invasion. And when people guessed that right away, because they're like, we changed it to a character who's connected to that person you all guessed. And I was like, that is Elektra right away. So then they came up with Echo as like a third option. This is, all rumor mill. I could be wrong. She could be the 9th option. She could be the 2nd option. Who knows? But that's the rumor mill. She slowly made her way into the Marvel, let's say, vernacular more than consciousness. She appeared in Moon Knight, where she was promptly killed to further a white man's story. And then she was inexplicably resurrected in the pages of Daredevil. Sure. Where she would then go on to join the Avengers as the Phoenix. Sure. And I cannot tell you why they gave her a show. I have read literally every word of this character ever. Literally. And because it's not that much. And I do consider myself kind of an Echo expert. If I'm sitting at my stuff, I really do.
And huge fan.
Yeah, a really, really significant fan. I've had extensive conversations with David Mack about what this character means to me. I love her. I don't know why this show now. I think she deserved maybe a little bit more setup than the way it happened. It was a little rushed. Didn't really make sense to me the way it was all done in Hawkeye. But I am very positive on the performance. I am very positive on knowing that it's going to lead into Daredevil Born Again. But that does lead me to the unfortunate rumor that Echo was deemed by Kevin Feige an unwatchable mess and had to be essentially refilmed. They discussed cutting it down. They discussed reshuffling it. But the decision was that they could refilm it, change some dialogue, add some scenes in a way that would not just improve the show, but improve its connection to Daredevil Born Again. Now, if that's true, it doesn't sound to me like Echo is a damaged character that can't pull off a story. It sounds to me like the burden of being one of the only shows to cover a female superhero with a disability, an indigenous person, a person dealing with the trauma of being orphaned and parental damage and generational trauma in the form of being sort of co-raised by Kingpin, who was involved in the death of her father. The realization that her entire world was built on a lie as an adult would be traumatic enough to send somebody who had a childhood trauma back to childhood. I really think the weight of having to be the show that does all of that probably just meant they needed a little bit more time in rewrites. That's all. But I would really love to get your guys' takes on this whole Echo situation in general. God, Matt looks so good.
Always.
my big focus with Echo is on the fact that it is a character with a stark disability that has not been given in the show yet a superpower that negates the disability. A criticism that Daredevil has fallen under, that Makari has fallen under, is that these characters, while disabled, for one thing, Makari is never said on screen in the movie that she is deaf. She might just be mute, and she can sense any vibration, so she is actually not deaf, even if her eardrums don't work. She can hear vibration, or she can sense vibrations in a way that negates that. So Makari ultimately might just be mute, which is a disability, but is a very different one, and is one that is not featured the way that her superpowers are. Echo is an amputee, and she is deaf, and it does not appear as though anything is making it, she does not have a cyber limb that is making it so that she has better, a better situation than anybody else.
And it keeps her from being one of the bad cops.
Blammo. And it appears as though she is just deaf. She might have honed senses such that she's fine, but she appears to just be deaf. And that is something that is really missing from superhero stories, from all television. So in that way, I am ready to give this that chance, and that chance alone, and I have really high hopes for it. Everything that we just talked about in terms of like what is going on with the show, if it needed to be reshot, how it's connecting to Daredevil, that to me is messy in ways that I do not love. But bigger disasters have turned out great from this type of work. I don't think it is a bad thing to get this show, to use the show to gear up for Born Again. That could be what actually really saves it. I do want Echo to be able to stand on her own, and I don't want Daredevil to be used as a prop for other stuff. But as far as the MCU goes, he has not been a part of it in the same way that other major characters have had. And between this and She-Hulk, it might be just the kind of runway that he needs for a smooth landing transition over to mainstream MCU. So like, I can enumerate the ways in which this could go absolutely terribly, and this is all bad news, but I can enumerate plenty of ways in which this is all good stuff. And the fact that they even said, reshoot it, make it good, not, okay, this is a disaster, we're scrapping it, which other studios have done, says to me, like, there's no reason not to have hope right now.
Yeah, I really agree. I would like to mostly focus on hope, and like to believe that, rather than viewing it as either Echo not being allowed to stand on her own, or as Daredevil needing the help, I would like to instead hope and view it as them just helping each other. That's all. And isn't that the point of this being an expanded universe? I know a lot of people are really touchy about the ways in which the Book of Boba Fett was just a sneaky half season of Mandalorian, but it's all the same universe.
And too bad it was great.
And it was great. And frankly, the Book of Boba Fett wasn't that different from Mandalorian, and was an enjoyable ride. And anyone who didn't watch it, who did enjoy Mandalorian, I feel missed out. And I think it's a similar thing here, where I would, at the end of the day, believe that a Echo show, made by the same people making a Daredevil show, would be missing out by not watching both.
If this is the level of quality that Book of Boba Fett was, and Daredevil is the Mandalorian, and it is essentially one is a part of the other. You can't really get the full story without watching both. I would be fine with that. I would be so happy. I understand why it's a little bit like, make a thing that can stand on its own. And honestly, for the most part, Book of Boba Fett can stand on its own. It's just that there's so much value in its ties to Mandalorian. I actually really would not hate if this was the same type of thing where like this stands on its own fine, but it provides so much value to its connection to Daredevil that it means that we have a series of Hell's Kitchen shows that are all really fantastic.
Yeah. Street level.
Yeah.
And the rumor about that is, and please, by all means, please shut off the show. So when we were pre-taped, and I would be like, by all means, please, I'm going to give you guys a minute. All right, I used to do this silence truncation thing, so it would go, I'm going to give you guys a minute. Here's the spoiler, and like, what a mess. So I'm vamping for a minute, and there's obviously giving anybody who wants to pause or jump forward 30 seconds a little time to avoid a spoiler. But so the rumor of the inclusion, and you guys got a little bit more spoiler time, the rumor of the inclusion of Matt Murdock's character in Echo is such that he is searching for a lost friend, namely one Miss Jessica Jones. So knowing that Punisher is going to show up in Daredevil along with Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin, which he's going to be in Echo as well, as Kevo so beautifully has up on the board. If anything, I'm just sort of bummed that maybe like She-Hulk doesn't show up for a more serious role. Maybe Hawkeye doesn't show up, or maybe Kate Bishop, right? But maybe those are the surprises that I was saying that I wanted to have saved. Maybe they've got a few surprises. And if I've learned anything from a lot of reality TV and from the digital age with things like Magicians season 4 finale, there's ways to season 3 finale.
No, I'm just
okay. When you were like, I was like, oh no, am I wrong?
No.
I'm pretty sure there's 5 seasons of Julia. I would know this. The shocking end of season 4 of Magicians, that they managed to keep that a secret from the cast who saw it live.
They found out like 3 days before it aired.
Oh, yep. That's what it was. Yeah. That's shocking and amazing. And it wouldn't be easy, but I think you could do something like that. I would also love if maybe Echo found herself in the Thunderbolts or something. I know she's not listed, but they're getting a new writer. Weirder stuff has happened.
We never thought she would have been the Phoenix either. So, sure.
When I look at Matt in the yellow suit and with that red breastplate, I just think he looks tremendous. I feel like it's sometimes hard to be a Daredevil fan. He is the butt of so many jokes, and for a good 30 years, he was like the shitty and in the Marvel universe. And nowadays, that's a little bit more like Hawkeye, and Daredevil commands his own corner. And they're working really hard to get the term street level out of there because it's so unattractive as to what it means. But the idea of sort of the less cosmic level, is really what they're trying to say with that. The frontline heroes, he represents something that the Marvel universe is always kind of in need of, which is a person with a soul, a person with a spirit.
We got in the Chip Zdarsky run a way that you can make a superhero that can go toe to toe with your X-Men, with your Avengers, but who still is on the ground a little bit more. And I think we are just scratching the surface of what the Zdarsky run and really even the Wade run, what those runs have done for Daredevil. That's what makes me most excited about what's to come, is that we've now had enough Daredevil adaptations that audiences know they have their origin story. We have started with Daredevil, and we can now start to get into some of these incredible creators who have, like, you know, brought things like the Norn stones into it. And Daredevil is still fighting on the street. He's still fighting with his fists, even if there is a reality altering stone in the mix. And I think getting that stuff into the MCU is a real opportunity that I think once we get where we're going over the next year or two, that's our next step, and that's what I'm really excited for.
And what I love about Daredevil now being back in the main MCU and about everything that you're suggesting is that now that it is back in the main MCU, you know, when it had been under the Netflix banner, you know, there was magic and there was mysticism, but it was always in this very, like, thinly veiled, whispered, we're not going to be too overt. But
except when there's dragons.
But even then, like, we don't, like, we see dragon bones, but it's all still very look over there off screen. But, like, no, there's been cosmic cubes and infinity stones and so many things in the Marvel universe that even on a show that can be more grounded and more serious and more about you know, that, you know, grounded reality, because it is part of this grander universe where instead of being like a guy with a hammer, like they put it on the Netflix show, they can be a lot more overt about, no, the existence of magic, and so you don't really need to feel the need to apologize the way it felt like Netflix did for their more mystic things. And so they really can just dig right into any amount of that level with Daredevil. And I'm really, really, really excited for them for that.
More than anything, I really loved having this opportunity to talk with you guys for a few minutes about not just what makes the Marvel Universe so good, but what makes us want to connect with the future of the Marvel Universe. Because we're not just talking about every project that's coming up here. You know, we could have talked about other things on the slate. We could have talked about other major things that Marvel has announced. But what we wanted to talk about was the future of TV at Marvel. We're talking about a lot of really cool shows regularly right now. We covered the Muppets drop. We did about half of it. We've talked about 2, sort of 3, 4-ish, but like only hinted at 3 and 4 of Silo. You know, but we started to talk about Silo. We're talking about Drag Race. We're talking about Project Runway. But, you know, all of those things that shape our bigger, wider narrative of loves grew out of this thing that we started talking about in the first place, which is the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the comics themselves. I wouldn't have TK in my life, a man I love so much, without this show. He literally came to me through this show. And Kevo, not that, you know, our marriage isn't great, but it was the pandemic. Dude, we might have slain each other to death if we didn't have something to focus on and put an effort to. And
if not each other, anyone who came into contact with us. So
yeah. And having an opportunity to take a day and say the MCU is an inexorable part of the network of pop fiction in a way that we can no longer say, oh, well, it'll blow over. Nah, 15 years. That's a longer time than a flash in the pan. It's a significant number of the films that have grossed over $1 billion. It is a significant number of the top 50. And frankly, it is keeping Hollywood employed. So, you know, amidst this writer's strike, which is, again, necessary, required for these writers to be able to afford living wages. And we want to see those guys do it because we're also writers and we're trying to also make that living wage, man. So don't forget, while your favorite writers can't make programming, don't give in and watch garbage that they're being, you know, frankly, like ratted with. You just go on other places. Don't just watch stuff like us. Watch anything. Watch game streams. Watch other content so the people that need to see that the writer's strike is working can see that it's working. And when the writers come back, you know, then head on back. But,
watch the back catalog, man. You know, you missed something. You know,
and that's what this was.
Yep.
Exactly.
You're always complaining that there's too much stuff. Well, here you go.
Yep. Enjoy the vacation.
But this is also a little unusual. This is like the pre-filmed weekend.
Yeah.
So it's a little different. I'm really excited. This is such an amazing thing. Everybody worked really hard to accommodate my schedule, and it really means the world to me. Yesterday's episode was a blast, and I can't wait to do more stuff like that, covering something a little unusual. And I super look forward to returning next week for our normal batch of stuff. But until we do that thing we do it so much. Kevo, I want to thank you for all of the amazing graphics you produced this episode.
You, Kevo.
It's amazing. You turned this out in like 24 hours. We have Fast X coming up, and we're not just doing that, the three of us. No. We're bringing in the two Joes, two of my favorite guys in the world. I have such a podcast crush on these guys. I learned everything I know about podcasting from Joey, so it's going to be a real honor to have him on our show. Makes me feel pretty good.
We're not playing the car game.
No. But we will play our new red, yellow, green light game.
Sure.
We're going to talk Little Mermaid. We're going to talk Transformers for Transformers, contributor series Hottie with a mustache. Arturo's going to come in and tell us all about how cars have oil blood or whatever. TK and I, a homecoming of all sorts as little Mayday Parker swings into our lives and our hearts the way we need so badly. I'm
There
so
she
excited.
is. Tiny little queen.
Lots of rumors that one of the Spider-Men from the Far From Home crew might have an animated appearance in this. Lots of rumors.
Oh, we
swirling
love
about
to
that.
see
No way.
it.
Yeah.
It
No way home,
it'll be
yeah.
Tobey
Oh, thank you.
Maguire.
And there's a rumor. Of course.
What
we're
is
gonna
his
talk-
name?
Uma.
Tugboat.
Oh. Miss McGuire. I really
out of here.
I
No,
really
that's
think what
Mr.
happened-
Garfield. That would be Andrew Garfield. Andrew
What-
Garfield would be mad if we didn't let him
It's
be
true.
Miss Banshee.
It's true. He's the drag race one.
We're going to talk about Strange New Worlds, which is my favorite Star Trek.
Heck yeah.
So excited. It's Pike is my hero. I want to be a captain that's as good a man as him. And then Secret Invasion. We're going to talk about it for real. So excited. But just a little house cleaning, a couple of other little things. I am lucky enough to be included in a book that won a whole bunch of awards earlier this year. And with Pride Month approaching, you might want to think about the best ways to fag up your life. So, gay it to the left if you're having a good time, buy it to the right if you know that you feel fine, and then buy this, Young Men in Love. It's an incredible book that I can't believe I got to be part of. Check out kidriotcomics.com for a bit more of our work. Keep an eye here for a little bit of cool shit going on with that. Pretty excited. And then you know what? I got nothing else. Is there anything I'm missing, boys?
No, I think you nailed it.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well then. Right. Okay. Right, Tristan. Hey, handsome. Where can everybody find you on the internet?
That's such a Brady Bunch moment. I love it. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at xnateXgrayX. And Kevo, where can everybody find you?
You can find me rocking it on the socials at Kevo Really. That's KEVOREALLY. And Nico, where can the folks at home find you?
You guys can find me all over this amazing channel, being a part of the best team on YouTube. That's, of course, these two guys. You can find me also at Nico Action. That's NICOACTION, talking about things like the Disney Afternoon and the MCU. So you definitely want to check that out. And until next time, remember, if it happens during the week, we're going to shout about it on Saturday and Sunday. So keep that channel liked. Keep that channel subscribed. Keep those videos liked. I will find a catchphrase and we'll see ya.
And, of course, ants.